So how do you have a healthy relationship? In this video, that's what I'm going to be talking about and sharing 7 traits you need to know in order to create and maintain a healthy relationship. But first, my name is Michelle Ferris. I'm a psychotherapist and I love helping people create relationships that work. So what is a healthy relationship anyway? It's basically a mutually agreed upon relationship that respects and honors both people's needs. Okay, it's not giving up who you are for the other person or taking care of them or getting them to love you because you don't love yourself. It is not trying to get the other person to change because, oh, they would be so great if only they stopped doing this one behavior, right? It's really being able to accept the other person and their faults and choose to be with them anyway. Because let's face it, there's no perfect person. And that's why healthy relationships are so challenging, because it takes a lot of skill that most of us don't learn growing up. But don't worry, in this video, you're gonna learn 7 traits you need to know in order to have healthy relationships. So don't forget to stay until the end, because I have a very special tip for you that you have to have in order to have a healthy relationship. So the first one is each person takes full responsibility for their own needs and their own happiness. This is really key because in an unhealthy relationship, we make our partner responsible for our happiness, and that is why they don't work out long term. A healthy relationship example is that, say you're unfulfilled and unsatisfied with your life for a variety of reasons. Instead of expecting your partner to give you that fulfillment, you realize it's your own responsibility and you actually seek help. You go to counseling, you do something to improve the quality of your life instead of expecting the relationship to do it for you. The second one is sometimes your needs are going to be more important than that of the relationship, because in any long-term relationship, each individual is going to have some crisis or some periods where they're really struggling, and that's okay. Maybe one person has a sick parent and you may need to be the one to take care of them, and that's going to inconvenience your family. But in a healthy relationship, the partner understands that, and you can work through these issues and to come to some agreement that sometimes in life we're going to have to do hard things. Number 3, in a healthy relationship, there's a healthy balance of give and take. Because when we don't have that, the relationship suffers and resentment starts to creep in because one person feels like they're doing all of the work. Now, a healthy relationship example of this is that you're both contributing to the home, whether it's financial, the chores, the kids, the pets. It doesn't mean that it has to be 50-50, right? One person might out-earn the other, or one person might stay home with the kids and the other one work, but both people are contributing to the family. One person isn't carrying the majority of the load and then wiping themselves out. It's understood in a healthy relationship that both people need to participate. So the next one is there's a willingness to communicate without blame. This is big because most of us don't know how to do that. But there's a willingness to learn. And in healthy relationships, maybe you realize, hey, I'm not a good communicator, or I do have anger issues and I need help. So you actually go get that. Because in a healthy relationship, you know that you need to avoid you statements like you're making me mad or you need to change. Instead, your communication is going to be much more focused on I. Here's what I think. Here's what I am frustrated with. Can you help me understand this, or can we work this out? So the communication is much softer and more inviting. Even when you're upset, you can focus on yourself and why you're upset and explain it in neutral terms rather than making the other person feel bad about themselves or gaslight them and make them feel like they're crazy because they're not doing what you want them to do. Now, this isn't going to be perfect. There are going to be times when you may yell at each other or have a bad argument, but for the most part, there's not abusive language, there's not name calling, there's not gaslighting where you're making the other person feel crazy. You're really wanting to communicate from a place of accountability. But in healthy relationships, the communication is clean and it's really more focused on you and what you need and what you want and how you can be neutral in describing what's upsetting you. The next one, both people know when to talk and when to walk away in an argument. This is huge because in healthy relationships, you are going to have arguments. You are going to yell on occasion, but for the most part, you don't hurt each other and you don't purposely seek to hurt each other's feelings. You know when you get to your limit and you know that that's when you need to walk away. Because in a healthy relationship, if you've done an argument over and over again, you start to realize, you know what, this isn't working. I need to do something different. So you realize that you need to take a break, because in a healthy relationship, you can have a conversation that goes much better if it's not forced. So you know that if you wait for a good time when both people are ready, then it's most likely going to be a lot more amicable and easier to resolve an issue. Whereas if one person continuously forces the argument or forces the other person to stay in a conversation, it doesn't go well. In fact, it escalates really fast. But in a healthy relationship, while again, it's not perfect, you know when you've hit your limit and you need to take a break in order to calm yourselves down and then come back later to discuss it. If both people understand how to control their emotions and when to walk away and when to keep talking, you can preserve the love that you have for each other. Number 6, physical affection and sex are negotiated and mutually agreed upon. There's no coercion, there's no manipulating or making the other person feel guilty. You actually talk about it. And if you can't agree, you seek help. You don't continue to blame the other person for not wanting sex or wanting sex too much. Depends on what the issue is. So an example of this might be a difference in sexual desire. One person wants it a lot more than the other person, because often when the sexual relationship fades, it fades for 2 reasons. The friendship has faded, or there's been a breach of trust, because those things tend to really erode the sexual relationship of a couple. That's a really good time to seek therapy, because there's a lot of therapists out there that can really help you improve your relationship. And in a healthy relationship, that's okay. That's understood. It's not seen as something negative or wrong. It's seen as, hey, we just need more tools, and that's okay. So the next one is boundaries are discussed and continuously worked on in the relationship, because over time, boundaries change, and one person may feel uncomfortable with something, and that's your opportunity to take care of yourself. So in a healthy relationship, an example of this might be maybe you don't like one of your partner's friends because they're derogatory to you, or they're just somebody that you don't really like. So you set some limits around that and you tell your partner, you know what, I appreciate that you really like this person. I really feel uncomfortable, so I'm going to minimize my contact. I'm not really going to hang out a whole lot with when you're seeing this person. And that's okay, because that's a boundary that each person has to decide for themselves, who they want to spend time with, how they want to do their life, what values are important to them. And all of those things help us take care of ourselves in our relationship. Another common boundary might be maybe both partners are overweight and one partner has decided, hey, you know what, I'm going to start exercising. And the other person feels threatened by that, like, oh, that means my partner's going to expect me to, and I don't want to. I still want to eat and lounge on the couch. An important sign of boundaries is respecting where the other person's at. So if one person wants to get healthy, they get healthy, and they may want to invite their partner along, but they also respect that they can't make their partner do it. And that's really important when it comes to boundaries, is we have to respect that other people may not have the same limits or desires that we do. And that's part of a healthy relationship, is to really understand and respect that even if I don't agree with your boundary, I'm going to respect it and honor it, because that's how you behave in a healthy relationship. So here's your bonus tip. The last trait of a healthy relationship is accountability. This is huge, because if you can't be accountable for what you say and what you do, then you're not going to be able to work anything out. You're not going to be able to resolve anything. And what I mean by accountability is you take responsibility and are willing to own when you say something hurtful or do something hurtful, even if it isn't your intention. Are you accountable in your relationships? If you are, say, yep, I am, because that is something to be proud of. Because in healthy relationships, saying you're sorry and meaning it and being willing to change your behavior as a result of that, because you care about the other person, is absolutely a critical sign of any healthy relationship. Get my relationships checklist. It's 3 checklists that are going to help you uncover what are challenging behaviors in your relationship, what are supportive relationship behaviors, and what are your own relationship behaviors that you need to possibly look at. Because part of having a healthy relationship is looking at your own behavior. Thanks so much.